The year 2022 is coming to an end and it has not been the best year for Xbox, but gamers can be excited for the upcoming 2023 because it's going to be a packed year for Xbox first-party games and second and third-party day one Game Pass releases. And today we have a look at the most important Xbox exclusive games coming in the first half of 23 and an outlook of what is possible in the second half of the next year. So let's talk about Xbox in 23. Hello gamers from around the world, this is Boxenberger, the video game enthusiast from Germany, with my latest video on what Xbox has to offer in 2023. And people following my channel know that I have been very critical about Xbox in 2022. But as of right now, it looks like 23 is finally the year where the insane long wait times for Xbox first party games are gonna be over. And especially the first half of 23 is going to be stacked. So we will discuss all the most important games that will come from Xbox first party studios, second party exclusives, and of course day one Game Pass releases of third parties. And should you end up enjoying this video, it would be awesome of you to consider to hit the like and subscribe button and maybe even turn on the notification bell to not miss out on future content. Okay, thank you guys, you are awesome, and now let's have a look in 2023. During the Xbox showcase in July 2022, Xbox laid out a roadmap for the first half of the upcoming year, and to this day we do not have many actual release dates for those games except the release window of January to June. But we do have a rumor of an Xbox event happening in January, so we shall see. Let's start with the games we know the dates for. Age of Empires 2 is coming to Xbox consoles on January 31st, making its console debut, and we also know that Age of Empires 4 is going to come that year to consoles, but no specific date has been given. It will be particularly interesting to see how they map the controls to controllers, and since I have already spent more than 450 hours in Age 4, I cannot wait to see how those games play on consoles. Monster Hunter Rise is also coming to Game Pass day one, and even though it's not an exclusive, Game Pass subscribers can play that game on January 20th, which is gonna be massive for Xbox to have such a game day one available to subscribers. Warlong Fallen Dynasty is coming on March 3rd, and gamers will be able to play the latest game from Team Ninja, makers of the Nioh games, day one in Game Pass. And many see this as one of the fulfilled promises from Xbox that they will do more when it comes to Japanese games. Well, and the only other game where we have an actual release date for is Diablo 4, which is going to come out on June 6th and is one of my most anticipated games for the next year. Now you could argue, well, this is not gonna be an Xbox game because we really don't know whether the acquisition of ABK will be done by June with all the scrutiny that the FTC and other regulators are putting Microsoft through lately. However, I put it in this list because I'm just so damn excited for the game. Okay, there are a lot of games for the first 6 months of 23 that have not received a release date yet. Let's start with the big three: Redfall, Starfield and Forza. I think it's fair to assume that Redfall will probably be the first one of the three that is going to come out next year. My personal guess would be a February or March release because whenever we've seen the game it looked relatively polished and pretty far along in development. In this single player or optional 4-player co-op action shooter, you will take on hordes of vampires that took over Redfall, and it's up to you to take them on. The game looks like a mixture of Left 4 Dead and Borderlands, and given that the development studio Arcane has always delivered with unique gameplay elements, I have the feeling this will be a surprise hit. Then we have Forza Motorsport coming after 6 years in development and building a brand new engine, including a complete new physics engine from Forza Motorsport, and this game is going to return big time. They have shown in-gameplay ray tracing at 60 FPS and a dynamic 4K resolution. This game will be a technical showcase, guys. It's this game when you bring home your friends and want to show off some real next-gen graphics, that's when you put on Forza. The question is, when will it actually come out? Earlier this year we learned that the game is going to enter the polish phase in development early 23, so I would expect that game more towards the middle of the year if it's not getting delayed into the second half of 23. And then there is Starfield, the highly anticipated new RPG from Bethesda Studios, a brand new IP from the mastermind Todd Howard that will take us to space. We will have more than 1,000 planets to explore, and Starfield will bring us hundreds of hours of gameplay while exploring different planets, while flying through space, including space combat and of course a super deep RPG system. I think it's fair to say that Starfield is probably one of the most anticipated games for next year. Not only is it the first new IP from Bethesda in more than 25 years, but the game has been a fair amount of time in development, and we cannot wait to see a true next-gen open-world RPG from Bethesda. Now the question is, when is it going to come out? I know a lot of people expect this game to be delayed into the second half of 23, and while this is a possibility, I personally expect that game to launch around the next year's E3, which would be in June, but make sure to let me know in the comments down below, when do you expect Starfield to release. Now we have a couple of other games coming either exclusively to Xbox or launching day one in Game Pass. For real-time strategy fans, ARA History Untold is going to come out in the first half of 23, and I cannot wait to see the new game of the Civilization makers and what they can do with an actual new IP. And we have also Flintlock coming next year, which is going to launch day one into Game Pass. We also have Ayuden Chronicles 100 Heroes coming, and since Ayuden Chronicles in 2022 was a true surprise for me, I cannot wait to see where the sequel will take us, because the sequel is apparently going to be even bigger. And one of the big indie games that many gamers are looking forward to is going to be The Last Case of Benedict Fox, which reminds people of games like Inside or Limbo, just a little bit more colorful. But the most anticipated indie game for 23 is probably Hollow Knight Silksong, and it's coming to Game Pass day one. This sequel to the beloved Hollow Knight is going to be a big one for Xbox. Okay, one of the bigger second party releases of the first half of next year is going to be Ark 2 starring Vin Diesel. Yes, Vin Diesel is going to be in that game, and this time Ark is going to have a proper single player campaign running in Unreal Engine 5, and even if the first game was not for you, and I get that because it was super weird, we cannot deny that this was a massive success and that the sequel is highly anticipated, so I wonder how especially the single player campaign works out in this game. And then there's Minecraft Legends, an action strategy game in the Minecraft universe, and even if you're not a Minecraft fan, I think it's definitely going to be worth to at least check the game out, because if I remember the launch of Minecraft Dungeons, a lot of people were actually enjoying that game even when they do not play Minecraft. So I wonder where Microsoft will place that launch. My bet would be March or April. And then we have an interesting one, and one of my absolutely most anticipated ones, and that is Stalker 2. Originally the game was supposed to come out in April 2022, and even before the war in the Ukraine started, the game was pushed to December 2022. But after the invasion of Russia, the game was delayed, but it is still scheduled for a release in the first half of 23. And recently the developers came out and shut the rumors down that the game is delayed indefinitely, and it is still on track for a release in between January and June. This first-person action RPG/shooter is going to run in the Unreal Engine 5, and it is set in a dystopian post-apocalyptic time. I think Metro goes open-world action RPG. Now, given all the circumstances that the developers had to go through to bring this game out, I wouldn't be surprised if it is coming more towards May or June, so let me know, what do you think? Well, on PC, Xbox fans can also look forward to Valorant and League of Legends coming to Game Pass in the first half of 23. One game that is not scheduled for the first half but for 23 is Lies of P, which stole basically Gamescom. The game looks absolutely stunning, and people that played it really enjoyed this Souls-like game, coming day one to Game Pass. There are more day one Game Pass games coming, like GoldenEye, Persona 3 and 4, Warhammer Darktide, etc, but I don't want to blow this video up. I rather focus now on what Xbox could bring in the second half of 23. I mean, in theory there are a lot of different candidates, because many of the games have been for 6+ years in development, but I think realistically a Fable or Perfect Dark are probably not going to make it into 23. I think a fair bet is going to be Contraband, which is a 4-player co-op game where you play in the 70s, and this game is all about planning and executing heists. The game is developed by Avalanche Studios, and it has been announced in 21, where it apparently was already more than 3 years in development, so chances are high this is going to hit 23. I also think that one of the bigger ones, like Avowed or Hellblade 2, is going to hit 23. We have heard multiple times from different insiders that Avowed was pretty far along in development before it moved over to Unreal 5, and given that the extra time was needed, I think it is definitely possible that Avowed could be a holiday 23 title, and I sure hope I'm right, because I cannot wait to see Obsidian's take on a Skyrim-esque game. Hellblade 2 has been announced in 2019 along with the Xbox Series X and has been in development for more than 5 years now, but of course, given that the pandemic slowed everything down, I still feel that this game is pretty far along in development, because it's the only Xbox first-party game outside of the big 3 that will hit 23 for sure that has been shown with gameplay. So yeah, if I would be a betting man, I think there is a high chance that either Avowed or Hellblade 2 are going to make it to the second half of 23. And then we have State of Decay 3, which has been announced in 2022 2020 and has been in development for quite some time now. And since this is a smaller studios, and those smaller studios typically don't take as long as the big AAA blockbuster studios, I do have the feeling that the game can come out towards the end of 23 with an overall development time of around about 5+ years. But with that, I want to come to an end of this video. I remember very vividly going into 2022 where I made a similar video for that year, and 22 looked pretty stacked at the beginning of January. Then everything got delayed and the year ended up to be a big nothing burger for Xbox in terms of bigger first-party releases. However, I do not have the feeling that 22 will repeat that history, but I also fully expect some of the games that I mentioned to be delayed into at least the second half of 23. I personally have the feeling that Forza Motorsport is the most likely candidate for that. However, I do not feel that Xbox is going to have another 2022 without any releases. On the contrary, this time we will get first-party and second-party exclusives and a lot of third-party day one Game Pass releases. The question is of course about the second half of 23 and whether Xbox is gonna surprise us with the aforementioned Hellblade 2 or Avowed, or maybe even the next game from Machine Games, which is probably going to be the third Wolfenstein. Given that we have no release dates for almost all of these games for the first half of 23, many are expecting Xbox to have some sort of event in January. Aaron Greenberg was teasing after the disappointing Game Awards that we will hear more from Xbox really soon. I know many Xbox fans are tired of waiting for the next year and the next year and the next year, but this time it kinda looks like the long wait is definitely over. And that's why I'm really excited for the year 23, because it's not only gonna be an awesome year for Xbox, but for gaming in general. And if you want to join me in the journey of gaming and gaming news and technology announcements and everything that the world of gaming has to offer, make sure to hit the like and subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you will not miss out on more upcoming videos. I really appreciate your support. I also want to say a big thank you to everyone who supports this channel throughout the entire year with channel memberships, to get early access to all the videos, with the super thanks in the comment section, and of course the super chats, and simply being there at the weekly live podcast I have here on my channel. You guys rock big time. And besides here on YouTube, you can also hit me up on Twitter or TikTok, where I share a lot of opinions and gaming discussions. But for now, thank you very much for watching. I see you the next time, and game on.